Welcome back to Scales and Tails. In part 1, we covered the basic signs of a healthy reptile, but today we're going a step further with more signs that people often miss. Let's get into it. One of the biggest signs of a healthy reptile is normal behavior. But here's the key. Normal looks different for every reptile. That's why it's important to learn your reptile's personality and routine. For example, Lola is active and alert and is very food-focused. If she suddenly stops showing interest in her food or movement, I would notice that right away. Luna is calmer and more independent. Since she's crepuscular, she's naturally more active in the evening. So if Luna is hiding during the day, that's normal. But if she stops hunting or acting alert at night, that would stand out. The goal isn't to compare reptiles to each other. It's to compare your reptile and what's normal for them. Another thing I watch closely is how my reptiles use their enclosure. Healthy reptiles usually move between different areas of their enclosure in a way that makes sense. For example, basking under heat and UVB, moving to cooler areas, using hides, exploring their space. When I watch Lola, I expect her to be basking regularly and moving around during the day. With Luna, I expect her to come out and explore more in the evening. If a reptile suddenly avoids basking, stays in one spot all the time, or seems uncomfortable in its enclosure, that can be a sign something is off. Sometimes it's health-related, and sometimes it's a setup issue like lighting or temperature. We talked about appetite in part 1, but this is a little different. This is about how your reptile reacts to food, not just whether they eat. A healthy reptile usually shows some kind of interest or awareness when food is present. With Lola, that's obvious. She reacts immediately. With Luna, it's more subtle. She watches first, then decides when to strike. But in both cases, there's a clear reaction. If your reptile shows no interest at all, doesn't track movement, or seems confused around food, that's something I would pay attention to. But then again, they may just not be hungry. Another important sign is hydration and overall condition. A healthy reptile shouldn't look dehydrated or weak. Things I watch for include skin appearance, energy levels, and overall strength and posture. Reptiles should look stable, not fragile or overly thin. Hydration can affect shedding, activity, and overall health, so this is something I keep an eye on regularly. For example, with Lola, I help support hydration by lightly misting her salad every day. That adds a little extra moisture while she eats. With Luna, I sometimes lightly mist part of her enclosure. She'll occasionally drink the water droplets. Now, this isn't something I do all the time with Luna, but doing it every 1 to 2 weeks can be a helpful way to support hydration. Like everything in reptile care, it's about balance and knowing what works for your specific animal. Again, it comes back to knowing what's normal for your reptile. This might be the most important one. Healthy reptiles usually show consistency over time. They don't have to be exactly the same every single day, but their patterns should make sense. They eat on routine, they move in a predictable way, and they behave like themselves. If something suddenly changes, even if it seems small, that's worth paying attention to. Sometimes I jot it down in a little notebook. Reptiles are really good at hiding problems, so small changes can be your first clue. When we put all of this together, both part 1 and 2, you start to see the full picture. Reptile health isn't just one thing. It's appetite, activity, appearance, shedding, body condition, behavior, enclosure use, food response, hydration, consistency. And I know it sounds a lot, but the more you observe your reptile, the easier it becomes to recognize when something is normal and when it's not. If you watched part 1 and 2, which sign do you think is the most important? And which one do you think people overlook the most? Let me know in the comments. That's it for Scales and Tails. If this video helped you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more reptile facts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.